Chapter 9 is workers' compensation. Our key terms: accident, an unexpected happening causing injury traceable to a definite time and place. Adjudication, final determination of the issues involving settlement of an insurance claim, also known as a claim settlement. Claims examiner, in industrial cases, a representative of the insurer who authorizes treatment and investigates, evaluates, and negotiates the patient's insurance claim and acts for the company in the settlement of claims, also known as claims adjuster, claims representative, and claims administrator. Conversion factor, the dollars and cents amount that is established for one unit as applied to a procedure or service rendered. This unit is then used to convert various procedures into fee schedule payment amounts by multiplying the relative value unit by the conversion factor. CNR, compromise and release, an agreement arrived at, whether in or out of court, for settling a workers' compensation case after the patient has been declared permanent and stationary. Deposition, the process of taking sworn testimony from a witness out of court. This is usually done by an attorney. Ergonomic, science and technology that seek to fit the anatomic and physical needs of the worker to the workplace. Extraterritorial, state laws effective outside the state by either specific provision or court decision. In workers' compensation cases, benefits under the state laws that apply to a compensable injury of an employee hired in one state but injured outside the state. FECA, Federal Employees Compensation Act, an act instituted in 1908 providing benefits for on-the-job injuries to all federal employees. Injury. In a workers' compensation policy, this term signifies any trauma or damage to a body part or disease sustained arising out of and in the course of employment, including injury to artificial members and medical braces of all types. Insurance adjuster, an individual at the workers' compensation insurance carrier overseeing an industrial case, authorizing diagnostic testing and medical treatment, and communicating with the provider of medical care. A lien is a claim on the property of another as security for a debt. In litigation cases, it is a legal promise to satisfy a debt owed by the patient to the physician out of any proceeds received on the case. Medical service order, an authorization given to the physician, either written or verbal, to treat the injured or ill employee. ND, non-disability claim, a claim for an on-the-job injury that requires medical care but does not result in loss of working time or income. Occupational illness or disease, an abnormal condition or disorder caused by environmental factors associated with employment. It may be caused by inhalation, absorption, ingestion, or direct contact. OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration, a federal agency that regulates and investigates safety and health standards in work locations. OWCP, Office of Workers' Compensation Programs, the agency within the U.S. Department of Labor charged with administering 4 major disability compensation programs, which provide wage replacement benefits, medical treatment, vocational rehabilitation, and other benefits to certain workers and their dependents who experience work-related injury or occupational disease. PNS, permanent and stationary, a phrase used when a workers' compensation patient's condition has become stabilized and no improvement is expected. It is only after this declaration that a case can be rated for a compromise and release. Permanent disability. An illness or injury, impairment of the normal use of a body part, expected to continue for the lifetime of the injured worker that prevents the person from performing the functions of his or her regular occupation, therefore impairing his or her earning capacity. Petition. A formal written request commonly used to indicate an appeal. Also means any request for relief other than an application. Reexamination report. A detailed progress report sent to an insurance carrier to provide the status of a patient on temporary disability who has made significant changes following 2 to 4 weeks of treatment. RVS, Relative Value Scale. A list of procedure codes for professional services and procedures that are assigned unit values that indicate the relative value of one procedure over another. Second Injury Fund. A special fund that assumes all or part of the liability for benefits provided to a worker because of the combined effect of a work-related impairment and a pre-existing condition, also known as a subsequent injury fund. Sequelae. Diseased conditions after and usually resulting from a previous disease. State-run program. Workers' compensation programs which are administered by the state's Department of Labor, Commerce, or Industrial Relations. Workers' compensation benefits are paid by the State Department responsible for administering the programs. The State Department acts like an insurance company. Sub rosa films. Videotapes made without the knowledge of the subject, used to investigate suspicious claims in workers' compensation cases. SIF, Subsequent Injury Fund. A special fund that assumes all or part of the liability for benefits provided to a worker because of the combined effect of a work-related impairment and a pre-existing condition, also known as Second Injury Fund. TD is temporary disability. The recovery period after a work-related injury during which the employee is unable to work and the condition has not stabilized. A schedule of benefits payable for the temporary disability. Third-party liability exists if an entity is liable to pay the medical cost for injury, disease, or disability of a person hurt during the performance of his or her occupation, and the injury is caused by an entity not connected with the employer. Third-party subrogation, the legal process by which an insurance company seeks from a third party who has caused a loss recovery of the amount paid to the policyholder. Waiting period. For disability insurance, the initial period of time when a disabled individual is not eligible to receive benefits, even though unable to work. For workers' compensation, the days that must elapse before workers' comp weekly benefits become payable, also known as elimination period. Work hardening. An individualized program of therapy using simulated or real job duties to build up strength and improve the worker's endurance so he or she can work up to 8 hours per day. Sometimes worksite modifications are instituted to get the employee back to gainful employment. WCAB, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board, the board that handles workers' compensation liens and appeals. And workers' compensation insurance, a contract that insures a person against on-the-job illness or injury. The employer pays the premium for his or her employees. Then we have our key abbreviations: AME, Agreed Medical Evaluator; CNR, Compromise and Release; ERISA, Employee Retirement Income Security Act; FECA, Federal Employees Compensation Act; IME, Independent Medical Evaluator; LHWCA, Longshore and Harbor Workers' Compensation Act. OSHA is the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. OWCP, the Office of Workers' Comp Program. PNS is Permanent and Stationary. And PD is Permanent Disability. Then we have QME, Qualified Medical Evaluator. ROM is Range of Motion. SIF, Subsequent Injury Fund. TD is Temporary Disability. WCAB, Workers' Compensation Appeals Board. And then WP is the waiting period.